Welcome to Autosphere, where I deep dive into the most fascinating cars shaping the future of the auto industry. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Now, let's begin with today's video. Tesla made the world take EVs seriously. That part is real. For years, if you wanted the full package, speed, software, charging, that whole clean, futuristic experience, Tesla was the benchmark. Not perfect, obviously, but still the benchmark. And that's why the IML6 is so interesting. Because this isn't just another electric sedan from China trying to look modern and undercut on price. This is the kind of car that goes straight at the things Tesla used to do better than everyone else, and then adds a few features that make you stop and go, hold on, this thing does what for how much? That's the story here. Not Tesla is finished. That's lazy. This is more interesting than that. The real story is that Chinese EV makers are no longer just chasing Tesla. In some areas, they're starting to pressure it hard. And the IML6 might be one of the clearest examples yet. Because on paper, this car sounds almost unfair. Depending on the trim, it costs roughly $30,000 to $42,000 in China. A Tesla Model 3 performance in the US is somewhere in the mid-50s before you even start getting into the usual caveats. So already the value story is attention-grabbing. But then you look at the actual hardware. This thing makes over 700 horsepower. Some versions are right around the 750 horsepower mark. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour happens in roughly 2.7 to 3 seconds. That is absurd. That's not pretty quick for an EV. That's properly fast. That's the sort of acceleration that used to be reserved for machines people put posters of on their wall. And look, yes, EVs have changed our perception of speed. There are lots of quick electric cars now, but a sedan at this price point putting up those numbers, that still hits differently. Because now the question becomes, okay, where are they saving money? What's the compromise? What's the catch? And that's where the IML6 gets even more fascinating, because the answer isn't obvious right away. Take the battery setup. Some versions of this car use a semi-solid state battery. Now, not full solid state. That term gets thrown around way too casually. But still, this is meaningful. We're talking about a more advanced chemistry direction than what most mainstream EV buyers are used to hearing about. It suggests higher energy density, better packaging efficiency, and potentially improved charging behavior. Then you pair that with an 875 to 900 volt architecture. That matters, because voltage isn't just a nerdy spec sheet flex. Higher voltage systems are a big part of how modern EVs reduce charging time and improve sustained performance. Porsche talks about it. Hyundai talks about it. Lucid talks about it. It's one of those underlying engineering choices that separates quick EV from serious next-gen EV. And here it is in a Chinese sedan that, again, is priced like this. The battery can go up to around 100 kilowatt hours, and the quoted range is somewhere around 700 kilometers on the CLTC cycle. Now, of course, CLTC is optimistic. That number does not translate one-to-one into real-world driving. Realistically, you're probably looking at something more like 450 to 500 kilometers in actual use, depending on conditions, speed, temperature, all of that. But still, big battery, fast charging, competitive real-world range, and wild performance. That is already enough to make this car relevant. Except the IML6 doesn't stop there. Actually, wait, that's not even the right way to say it. It almost feels like the company couldn't stop adding stuff, because then you get into the chassis tech. This car has rear-wheel steering. That's a big deal. Rear-wheel steering changes the way a car feels at both ends of the speed spectrum. At low speeds, it can dramatically improve maneuverability, which is especially useful in cities or tight parking situations. At higher speeds, it can improve stability and the sense that the car is rotating with you rather than just following along reluctantly. And this isn't some giant luxury sedan where you expect that feature. This is a Tesla Model 3-sized competitor. Then there's Crab Walk. Yes, Crab Walk, a sedan that can move diagonally. That sounds like one of those features that should belong on a giant off-road EV or a concept car at an auto show. But here it is on a sleek Chinese electric sedan. Is it essential? No. Is it a little theatrical? Definitely. Is it also the kind of thing that makes people share videos and start asking what else this car can do? Absolutely. And that matters, because Tesla's advantage was never just that its cars were good. It was that they felt ahead. They felt like they came from the future. The IML6 understands that emotional part of the equation. It isn't just trying to be competent, it's trying to feel advanced. That theme continues inside. The interior philosophy is basically the opposite of Tesla minimalism. Tesla strips things down. The IML6 adds layers, more displays, more features, more visual drama, more comfort tech. There are massage seats in the rear. There's a huge emphasis on digital interaction. There are adjustable performance and comfort modes. There's vehicle-to-load capability, which means the car can actually power external electronics or even help charge another vehicle. That's one of those features that sounds niche until you remember a car has a huge battery sitting underneath it all day. Then it starts to feel obvious. And the software angle is especially important here, because software is where Tesla built a lot of its moat. Not just the center screen, the logic of the car, the way it thinks, the way it updates, the way features feel integrated rather than bolted on. Now, Chinese EV companies are getting increasingly serious about that side of the experience too. The IML6 has advanced driver assistance features that, at least conceptually, push into Tesla territory. Highway functions, smart lane changes, dense sensor awareness, and then some very specific details that feel both futuristic and a little bit extra, like AI-powered digital mirrors that can highlight obstacles, pedestrians, or bikes in warning boxes. That's the kind of thing that sounds gimmicky until you imagine a rainy night in a crowded city, and suddenly it feels less like a party trick and more like a genuinely useful layer of awareness. There's also a track mode interface with telemetry, and I love that detail because it tells you a lot about how this car is positioned. Brake pressure, throttle input, battery temperature, motor temperature, lap-oriented visuals. It's race car language inside a family-sized EV. Now, realistically, most owners are not taking this thing to a circuit and studying telemetry like amateur GT drivers. Of course not. But the point is emotional. The car wants to feel like it has depth. It wants the owner to feel like they bought into something serious, something engineered, something with layers to discover. And that's smart. One of the most vivid details I came across was the rear light bar that can display custom messages or icons. You can literally communicate with the car behind you. A thank you, a symbol, a little digital signature of what the car is doing. Again, not essential, but it tells you something about the mindset here. Chinese EV makers increasingly treat the car like a smart device on wheels, not just a transportation object. Tesla pushed that door open. These companies are running through it. Now, to be fair, this is where we need to keep our feet on the ground, because the IML6 is impressive, but that doesn't automatically mean it's better than a Tesla Model 3 in every real-world way. Pricing inside China is not the same as pricing in the US or Europe. Supply chains are different. Domestic competition is different. Subsidy structures and manufacturing economics are different. So when people compare a Chinese market price directly against an American market Tesla price, that needs context. Also, not every flashy feature matters equally. Some of this stuff is genuinely useful. Some of it is probably there because the market loves feature density and technological theater. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's worth separating meaningful innovation from digital glitter. And refinement still counts. Tesla has had years to work through battery management, software maturity, charging behavior, safety engineering, and the small invisible things that make a car feel fully sorted. Some Chinese brands are moving incredibly fast, which is exciting, but rapid development can sometimes lead to rough edges, strange packaging choices, features that feel 90% done. A great idea with one annoying implementation detail. Actually, wait, even that is changing quickly. Some of the newest Chinese EVs look shockingly polished. So it's not fair to talk about them like they're all half-baked experiments anymore. That era is ending, but the bigger point remains. The IML6 does not need to be perfect to matter. It just needs to be real. And it is. That's why this car is such a big deal. Not because it kills Tesla, not because it wins every comparison, but because it proves the game has changed. A few years ago, Tesla's biggest advantage was that nobody really matched the total package. You could beat Tesla on one thing maybe, interior quality, ride comfort, maybe price in some cases, but not the whole stack. Now here comes a car from China with outrageous power, advanced battery tech, high voltage charging architecture, rear wheel steering, AI-assisted safety visuals, track telemetry, luxury comfort features, and a price that makes people do a double take. That's not random. That's not a fluke. That's what happens when an entire industry starts moving at full speed. And honestly, that's the most exciting part, because the IML6 isn't just interesting as a car, it's interesting as a signal. It signals that the next phase of the EV race is not going to be about whether legacy automakers can catch Tesla. That story is too old now. The next phase is about whether Tesla can hold its ground against companies that learned from it, adapted faster than expected, and are now building cars that feel just as futuristic, sometimes even more so, while making the price-performance equation look deeply uncomfortable. That's a very different world from the one Tesla created, and it's a much more competitive one. If you enjoy exploring cars that are reshaping the future of the auto industry, the engineering, the strategy, and the ideas behind them, make sure you're subscribed, because the EV race is only getting more interesting from here.